The Betterment Junkies.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I am Mr. White.
And I'm Mr. Black.
And we are the Betterment Junkies. And we are here today to tell you a little bit about us. You probably are wondering who we are, who's Mr. Black, who's Mr. White, yada, yada, yada. That's exactly what we're here to tell you today.
Yeah, we're not really famous or anything, so I think it would be good to just take some time for you guys to get to know us a little bit and kind of explain the format that we're going to go into. And I don't think there's any better place to start than essentially how we met.
That is true. Mr. Black and Mr. White, we've known each other for a very long time. I think when we did the math, it was like 12 plus years or something.
Which is crazy.
It is absolutely crazy to think that you've known someone for that long. We are best friends. We've basically grown up together.
I didn't like you when we first met.
I hated you.
It was not a good...
I thought you were a weird little kid, weird little Indian kid.
I thought you were some entitled fucking brat in the beginning.
That's fucked up. We're in the same neighborhood. Your house was just as big as mine. That's so fucked up. As you can see, Mr. Black is a little bit more devilish than I am, hence why I'm Mr. White. Yes, I am your champ. Thank you very much. Mr. Black, you are a dick. As you can see, we talk about everything. We talk about a lot, and we thought we'd put it on the podcast. But we want to tell you about us. And I did say Mr. Black was Indian. I am also Indian as well. I think that's one of the biggest things about us and what makes us different.
But one thing is, I'm South Indian.
Yes, Mr. Black is South Indian, and I am North Indian. May not seem like a mutt, but it is a distinct, different type of Indian.
Yeah,
just like in America, in Civil War, you had North and South, and even now you have North and South people. They act differently. They have different tendencies. Just like India, we have North and South.
Yeah, because in our friend group before, 3 of them were all North Indian, and I was South Indian.
Yeah, so he's pretty much the redneck of our group.
Yeah.
South
Indians are I guess my people are like the rednecks of India.
Yeah. No, really. I mean, they work hard. It's intelligent. They just do their thing, No, but it was always a distinction in how we grew up. Even though we were Indian, we had different, I guess, cultural ways that we grew up in. Things we did at home.
I think we definitely have some similarities. Like, I think when I was especially young, there's... for me, it's changed, but at the time, there was kind of an understanding that I would get an arranged marriage.
Yeah, so that
for me, but that kind of
thing about being Indian, which is the arranged marriage thing. And
for me, it kind of dissolved away once I kind of pushed some boundaries and started dating, and obviously it became easier for my 2 younger brothers. But when I started, it was still my parents didn't know what dating was. Now I'm kind of no longer required to get an arranged marriage. So
yeah, so I think that's what we want people to understand. When we say being Indian, we grow up very differently. I know you guys, probably if you're not Asian, you have some sort of idea Asian homes are more strict, yada yada yada. But if you're Asian, you completely understand a lot of things are chosen for you. I think the first thing, like Mr. Black mentioned, is dating. That's pretty much chosen for you from pretty much when you're born or old enough, when they think all right, we're gonna start thinking about his future. And man, when for me, it was more prominent where, my older brother, God bless him, I thought he was going to break the mold for us, but he got an arranged marriage and he's happy and it worked for him. And arranged marriages work a lot, but it's a little weird concept to me, especially growing up in America and going through a dating phase, but it's not that weird because I grew up with it. It's not, some people think oh wow, how can you be told to go marry that person? I gotta find them.
Your family's still on the idea of arranged marriage.
Oh, yeah.
They're still very into that idea.
Yeah, my family's, they want me to, they're still pushing me. So
yeah.
So it's it doesn't leave, and it's this old school mentality. It's just unfortunately how they grew up. They grew up in a different time, a different place, and that's what they brought over. And we grew up in a free will, free choice America. Mm-hmm. And we had different friend groups and different type of people around us, and that influences you a lot.
Having the arranged marriage thing, it seems very foreign here because you're taking an aspect of Indian culture and putting it in American culture where it may not blend. But arranged marriage works perfectly in an Indian culture where they have everything else to support it.
Yeah.
Everyone around you is getting arranged marriage. It's like in movies, it's supported. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't think of it because it's not a norm to you, but
mentalities of people are different with arranged
very
marriage.
Different.
So it works better there. And
statistically around the world, arranged marriages technically work better than love marriages.
That's a bullshit statistic.
Well, it's a statistic.
You apply freedom into anything.
You can think whatever you want of it. It's a statistic.
That's a bullshit statistic.
It's a fact that they have less divorce rate than a love marriage does.
Yeah, because they don't have as much of a choice to get a divorce.
Which some people could say is a good thing. It makes you like that old school mentality sometimes isn't bad. It makes you like, you have to work out these problems with that person.
This is going to turn into a debate.
This is what we're here for.
Yeah.
We're always here to debate. We're always here to talk about things. And as you can see, we pick from our life experiences.
Yeah.
So,
we will talk about this later. Definitely soon, because this is a one we've been trying to stop talking about it so we could save it for this podcast.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely have that one soon coming out.
It's definitely prominent. But let's talk about, like we said, there's different ways where we grow up, different things that happen, arranged marriage, picking who you date,
general strictness and academic requirements.
Now I know a lot of Asians know that.
Yeah, I think that's like a kind of a board. And
yes, Indians are Asians. For people who don't know, India is in the continent of Asia. India is not its own continent. Even though it looks like a puzzle piece that just floated in there, it's still part of Asia.
For the long, when you apply for jobs and they ask you like, are you Asian and shit like that? I kind of like
Mr. Black is just so easy to pick on. That's why we pick on it.
I would read everything and just make sure, like,
is that you?
I would feel confident when it said including the Indian subcontinent, but some jobs don't specify that.
No. Do you put other and put Indian? Because as an employer, I would laugh at you and be like, "Dude, the Asian option is right above you."
I've done that. Okay, this was back in the day when I was applying to like Burger King and shit. So that's not like now, but like back in the day, I was like, "Other, I'm Indian."
Yeah. No, but it is a weird distinction. But sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. The original academic pressure when you grow up.
Yeah, I think we both had that. I mean, especially for me, like, it was just like.
No other way is an option. Like there isn't we're lucky that we live in this day and age of social media, internet, everything. We have now more viable options to make a standard life for ourselves. Mm-hmm. But to them, it's school.
Well, it's not even. See, it's a weird thing because it's not even a bad thing, and it's hard to complain about. Like, it's obviously you should try for academic excellence. It's almost something
I want to take forward to my kids as well to push them to do good.
Like,
not in the crazy way that our parents did.
Like literally, like my dad would come back from work and he would sit down at the front of the dining table and he would then, actually when we were little kids, my mom would tutor us. And then later on, my dad would check on us. So it was just like common, but it was like a standard thing.
Which I would say I would have been happy to have received that. But it was when me and my brother were young. My parents came here when they were like 22, something like that. And,
25.
Yeah, so they both had to work. So it was babysitters, it was neighbors. So the people they were to tutor me, I took ESL. So let me backtrack a little bit because it'll lead into school. But let me just tell you a little bit about me. And I have an older brother, so we kind of go through the same experience. He's about 3 years older, so we're in that kind of generation gap where we're in the same generation, but still kind of a next generation type of thing. When we were born, our parents sent us to India to grow up. So we were born in America, so we are American citizens because we were born in America.
That's pretty crazy. But
we were sent to India right away when we were about 6 months old. And we grew up there until about we were 3-4 years old to come back and start kindergarten, start school here. So therefore, my first language was not English. I did not know English. Gujarati is my first language. Hindi is a national language of India. I also know Hindi a little bit. But that was my kind of segue into America. When I took ESL, I don't remember a lot of bullying, especially where I live. But I guess when I moved down to where we are now, I experienced it a lot more in school. I don't know, maybe it's the area.
When I was a kid, bullying was a very, very watered down type of bullying, but it was very dramatic when I was a kid. It would be something like, I borrowed this kid's pencil and then I lost it. I remember this specifically. This kid was running like a mob on pencil industry or in the school.
What the fuck?
Like, he let me borrow a pencil and he bullied me into saying, you better return the pencil.
You know what I'm thinking? You ever seen the show Recess? Like the old cartoon Recess?
Oh yeah, I love that show.
And there's a kid that always has a coat on. Yeah. And he pulls it open and he's like, what you want? Pencils?
You mean like the future flasher? Like
yeah, right. Well, or the future businessman, salesman. You know, think a little positive. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, being Indian though, I have experienced racism, especially in the workplace when I grew up and things like that. But we'll get into that. So me and my brother were growing up that way. So a lot of the times after we came back, our parents weren't around. They had to work. They had to work to be able to sustain us, to put food on our table. So my brother would be babysitting me a lot, or we would be going to neighbors. But we didn't have tutors. We didn't have our parents sit down with us. And they didn't go to school in America. I mean, my dad did after he came, and he did put himself through college, but you know, it wasn't like I would say he was like a 70s type of father, you know, like he doesn't really show emotion, but like
F is for family. You've seen that?
Yeah,
like that kind of dad.
So, you know, we didn't really ever sit down and this is 1+1 or yada, yada, yada. Everything we kind of had to figure out ourselves. And that's even including when you get up to like puberty. I remember this is probably a really fucked up story. I don't know if I should tell. I don't even know if I've told Mr. Black this story, to be honest. We prayed every night, right? I was in a very religious and old school family, so we prayed every night. And when I got to around puberty, I had this biggest itch on my jock, and like I didn't know what it was. It was just so fucking itchy.
Never heard this.
I was just, so the entire prayer was sitting there for like 10, 15 minutes. Like every 30 seconds, I'm like itching my jaw. Like, why is it so itchy? I didn't understand. But my mom and my grandmother, they're just ignoring me, absolutely ignoring me. And then after we're done, my brother takes me into like the bathroom and he's like, or the room, and he's like, yo, you can't be doing that in front of people. Don't, like, if it itches, whatever, just, you can't do that in front of, like, so this is how we kind of had to learn and, you know, do things. It's awkward to say, but like, that's how I grew up.
I've had my share of awkwardness when it comes to going through puberty with your parents. Well, not with your parents, but like, you know, the sex talk, you're like in American culture.
Which I never got.
Yeah, it's not a thing in Indian culture, but I think it plays a definite role. I mean, it establishes, like, your parents establish certain things with you. I remember asking my mom, like, where do babies come from? And my little brother was in the car. And she literally, like, stopped in the garage.
So, I'm sorry to disturb you. I'm a younger brother. I have an older brother, and you have two younger brothers. So he's an older sibling, I'm a younger sibling. That's also a dynamic there, but continue.
Well, then she told my little brother to get out of the car.
Were both your brothers there?
Nah, my youngest brother wasn't born yet.
Oh, okay.
It was like, so, like, yeah. So then, and then she's like, she just randomly came up to me. She's like, do you know where lion babies come from? And I was like, no. She's like, all right, you're not old enough yet.
So she just equated like animal rebirth to your knowledge of rebirth.
Yeah, and it was just
because
like,
you didn't know where lions came from, you didn't need to know where humans came from.
She was clearly uncomfortable with the topic.
So she found a way out of it.
Yeah. And I was just like, all right. And
at least she tried. I'll give her that. At least
she tried. She liked the dramatic pause, told my little brother to get out. I mean, it's funny because it's like, I don't know, like, would you have rather had that talk? I don't know if I would.
With me, like, going into the future, how old were you? You want to say?
Like 12, 13?
Yeah, like at 12, 13, you know, you're hitting that puberty age.
Wait, was I 12? Is that stupid for a 12-year-old not to know where babies come from?
No, that's completely normal. Because that's like you're around your puberty age. Boys
I feel like 12-year-olds know where babies come from.
Nowadays, 12-year-olds know.
Well, yeah, nowadays.
I don't think when we were growing up, us 12-year-olds, we just knew like bikes and.
No, but could you imagine a 12-year-old walking around and be like, thinking that a stork brought his little brother? I feel like I don't think
you were that naive at 12. I just think you wanted to, like, you had this, wait, I know something about a bell. Like, because me, when I'm thinking.
What I thought before was my parents would pray and then God would give them a child. That's what I was told.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I, like, believed until a point. But then my faith in religion started slacking off, and then I was like, all right, what the fuck is going on? Where did this little brat come from? Like, I started piecing it together.
Well, so as you being an older sibling, you saw your mom pregnant, right?
I did. So I feel like I would have known that. But no. The answer to this question is sex. That was not.
That's not ever coming up.
Because I didn't even understand that, because I, to this day, have never, like, you know, seen my parents, like, kiss or anything. It's not in Indian culture.
There's no affection shown in like this Asian type of household.
I mean, a lot of people think, oh, they don't love each other. No, they definitely love each other. Yeah. But it's just like it's a different culture.
They just don't PDA like other parents.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting dynamic, especially when you don't get that talk, and you have to go through these stages. you said as a 12-year-old you didn't really know where babies came from. I can't even remember my first theory about it. I think once I learned about kissing, I thought they just came straight from kissing. Like if you kiss someone,
I
then
probably
you
thought that at
and
some
get
point. Sounds right.
impregnate them. Yeah, yeah. We don't admit these things, but like even up until we're like 18, we have these weird thoughts. This is gonna sound bad. Like I remember you telling me in high school, like you sometimes think like
Yo, you
these
might
people.
put me on the spot
Are
right
you
now.
no? But
What are you about to say right now?
Well, I thought the same thing, so I'm putting both of us on the spot right now. And I
Alright.
know a lot of people do, but this is what's the difference between like sociopaths
You
and
were
like
18 at the time?
no, I'm not gonna say the age. I'm not
Okay.
gonna say the age.
All right.
I'm just gonna say high school, middle school. That's all I'm gonna say.
Middle school. Okay.
Middle
go.
school. We'll make it younger. All
All
right.
right, go. What are you about to say?
So just like the idea of like, and I know a lot of people think this, but like people are walking through the hallway, and especially if you experience bullying or something like that, even at the minute level, you just think like, man, what if I just trip this kid? And or you see a girl like carrying this heavy load, like what if I just knock it down from her hand? You think these
Oh,
thoughts?
dude, I thought you were about to say something like, "Oh, we both thought like girls had dicks too," like something like that. I was like,
I wasn't
oh.
that naive.
Yeah,
Did
I
you think
wasn't.
that?
At the time, I remember the realization when I was a little kid, like, oh wait, girls don't have like dicks.
Actually, I don't think I ever even thought that until a health class
Because, I
brought
mean,
it
that's
up.
your assumption, right? Like, I have this, everyone else has this.
No, to me, it was always a distinction. Like girls are different than boys.
I
didn't know
remember,
what they had, but
I remember
it
being a
was
little
in-
kid and like realizing that. I don't know what. All right, what were you saying about being fucked
Well,
up?
I think we're getting a little sidetracked with
All right.
stories and stories and
All
stories.
right, all right.
We're here to tell them about us. So they know we're Indian. They know we grew up in a strict household. So academia was definitely a pressure for us. So let's
Mhm.
talk a little bit about school. Me and Mr. Black, we kind of met halfway through middle school, I would say,
Yeah.
or just the beginning of middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, we've been in the same high school, same neighborhood. Then we went into the same college. We were dorm mates. We were roommates. Then when we started working, oddly enough, we started working at the same places. A couple of 2, 3 companies we worked at the same place.
Yeah.
Mr. Black is the reason I'm in the current job that I am, or the current industry that I am, which is banking. So we've known each other for a while. But we are very distinct, 2 different people. I did not fully embrace my Indian heritage growing up in America in school. So I just was naturally like trying to do good at school. It wasn't like my parents wanted to. See, my parents were with Asian parents. It's all about the firstborn. And I know you know this pressure because
Yeah.
you're the firstborn.
Mhm.
So my brother was the firstborn. So they had this high hope, like, yo, he's gonna become a doctor. He's gonna do this.
You know what it is? It's watered down economics. It's like
Like
all the
trickle
pressure.
down, like
Yeah, like
economics.
if I get the first one right, then the second one and third one will just take
they
care of
will
each
like
other.
fall in line or
Exactly.
something.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Well, if you fuck up the first one, what else is gonna, But anyways, so their hopes were for him. They pushed him more than they pushed me, and then from that push, they expected him, just like you said, trickle
Mhm.
down, for him to do the rest for me. So I do understand the responsibility that he had. So for me in school, I did naturally good in school. I'm not, now that I'm a little bit grown up, I can't do like institutionalized school, but I was very good at being schedulized and doing homework and
Yeah, I remember that. You
and
were.
like tests and things like tests, not so much, but I was a pretty decent student. Um, but I was a student only. I wasn't like a kid. My parents did give me a lot of freedoms. I don't want to like tell people like they didn't let me go out. They didn't let me have friends. I had a lot of good childhood friends growing up. We even, we had a lot of sleepovers. We had a
Mhm.
lot of times where we would just like ride bikes after school. Me and Mr. Black are semi dancers, so we had like a dance team in high school. We would do dance practices, things like that. So we had a lot of freedom to hang out with our friends, but not in the typical sense of like Americans do. Like I couldn't go to the mall at night.
Oh
I
yeah,
couldn't go to the movies at night.
and we lived near the movie theater. We could walk to the.
We could walk to the mall. We
Yeah.
could literally walk to the mall, but I haven't in years just because I haven't.
I
been
just think it's interesting, like when you talk to like someone who I guess grew up in like the American culture, to hear it was to the freedoms that they had that we didn't.
Absolutely. I will tell you this. I dated a white girl for a short period of time in
Mhm.
school, and it was just hard because she wanted, like, her parents were okay with me coming over and spending time in her backyard,
Mhm.
But my parents would never understand that, especially not for someone who was not Indian. So
Yeah.
it wasn't even a question to tell them, hey, can I even go to a friend's house? Even lie to say it's a guy friend's house, because even then they wouldn't have let me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that was obviously a short-lived relationship.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the issue growing up. Like, how do you normalize? How do you socialize when you have such restrictions?
Dude, I broke so many fucking barriers for my younger brothers.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely did. Like, my youngest brother has it so easy right now.
He's spoiled. That's what it is.
I thought my younger brother was spoiled, but no, he's not spoiled. The third one is.
I'm only up to 2, so I can't even imagine what would happen with the third one.
Parenting gets watered down at a certain point too.
They just like don't give a fuck anymore.
I mean, they're like, all right. I mean, he was probably going to be fine. If not, we'll blame it on the oldest son.
No, but he's very coddled. He's very like still the babyish.
I think all the younger siblings.
That's exactly like
happens.
even I'm the second, but as the youngest, I still like my parents still give me that type of baby treatment. You know, he's a baby. He's the young one. Yeah. Ironically enough, you say you broke a lot of barriers for your younger brothers. For me, my older brother, it was kind of backwards. So my older brother taught me a lot of life lessons. Like I had my first drink with him. I had my first smoke with him. You know, and people say like, "Oh, your brother taught you this." I actually thank him for that, because he taught me before I got into college. Like we said, we were restricted in middle school and high school. So when we got into college, it was freedom galore. Like we could do anything, anyone, whatever we want. Yeah. So, which was toxic in itself. We'll get to, but. That before I got to that, my brother kind of, you know, you're going to do these things in college. Do it with me first. Learn how to train your body, put it in your system. And then and he even made a rule for me if I wanted to do it. And up until I was like about to go into college, he was like, you can't do it with your friends. I think I remember you telling you this, like, yo, my brother, don't tell my brother, because he's like, he doesn't want me to do it with my friends. But that was like a rule and kind of a restriction he put. And I think I went better for it. Like, yeah, we did some fucked up shit in our life afterwards when we got the freedom, but if I wasn't trained, if I wasn't introduced into what I was introduced, then if I had been introduced by myself with just a friend group, I think I would have been a lot worse off.
Yeah, you were like since you had the older brother, you were definitely the more experienced one. So I'm trying to picture it without having someone experienced, and someone could have died probably. Like.
That's morbid to say, but you're right. Like, you're absolutely right.
If we had no idea, like we were doing.
Like, and think about it. When we were in middle school, the taboo thing was cigarettes and marijuana. Your youngest brother, the taboo thing is heroin and cocaine.
Yeah, that's freaking crazy.
Like, marijuana is nothing to them. These things are nothing to them. Their friends are now onto cocaine and heroin at a high school level. That's mind-boggling to me. I didn't even know what cocaine and heroin was in high school.
Yeah, me neither.
And marijuana just sounded like marriage your mama to me. And I would just always make that joke in high school. You married your mama? I married your mama.
I remember you used to think you were so funny in high school.
Shut the fuck up. I ran for a campaign. I'm not a popular kid, but I ran for a campaign. And my slogan, oh, I can't say it. Never mind. All right. I can't say it. All right. I'm sorry for that story. As you can see, we're Mr. Black and Mr. White. It's not just anonymous because we want it that way, but there's a lot of significant reasons, but we want it to be open. We took it after, we put junkies in the name, but we took it after the idea of like, you know, what are AA meetings and things like that. People spill when it's anonymous. People talk about anything when it's anonymous.
And like, there are going to be some topics where like I feel like playing devil's advocate with someone else really fleshes out the topic. And sometimes
we need that in life. We need that.
Yeah, but sometimes when you play devil's advocate, you're gonna say some fucked up shit. So I mean, I love doing this, but I'm not trying to like give up my job.
Nobody.
Like yeah, and I'm not trying to like lose my job or some shit.
People have different opinions, and they're entitled to their opinions, absolutely. But it's one thing like. You can't just cross a line and just start attacking people because you don't like their opinion. It's an opinion. And like Mr. Black said, it's going to be devil's advocate. So it doesn't always mean that that's our opinion.
We're just exploring an idea.
We want to explore ideas so that you guys can explore ideas. Let's get back to why we want to explore ideas and let's get back to...
But really quick, I mean, we kind of have this outline that we've kind of just botched so far. But let's go back.
And that's the beauty of podcasts. That's why I love it.
Let's go back. I mean, as far as me being a student, I was really entitled. I thought, I mean, because whenever I actually applied myself, I would do well in school. But the thing is, applying myself, I never really did it too much. So
Yeah, I always thought that, like, you know, I can do this. I know how to do this.
if I apply myself.
Yeah, and I
But
can
I was
get
just
an
like,
A.
yeah. So I just made it through high school and then got to college and with all that freedom just went crazy. And then
Without that schedule, it's almost like you didn't know how to apply yourself. Because you could
Oh,
tell
yeah.
yourself, like, I can do it, but I'll do it later.
yeah, and then when I failed out, it was a realization that I was not as good as I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a complete slap in the face because when you drop out of college as an Indian, it's like
It's like Hiroshima.
it's like a dishonor on you and your family. Like it's like
it's a big deal.
Yeah, so then that was rough, but I would not take it. I don't know about you, but I would not take it back because if I somehow like skated through college and barely passed and got it, it would have not set me up in the future. Me failing and then having to like come back home had to confront some of the worst aspects of myself. My entitlement, me thinking that I'm like naturally talented at anything, or thinking that I'm in, like.
So for you, it was kind of like a necessary obstacle for you to become the man that you are right now.
It was a necessary failure. It was completely necessary.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
No, I absolutely agree. My story is a little bit different. It wasn't necessarily failing out. Mine was a bit of a dropping out through different types of circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you, I got that freedom. You know, I was in a relationship and everything kind of fell apart. So I had a bad emotional type of sense with this freedom. And then, I mean, is it okay? We both did a fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
We both were on a collegiate dance team. So we traveled, we partied. It was an amazing experience. But when you add that freedom and then you start bogging down, you're getting older. Now you're in your second and third year of college and you're not as good of a student as you thought you were because you keep procrastinating. You keep taking your life experiences over planning your life out. Just being young, you know, you're just being young.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been absolutely beneficial to be able to call like even my brother or my dad or my mom and be able to talk out or be able to say openly, like, there's a party Friday night, but I have a test. See, my parents I was close enough to home where my parents made me come back every weekend because they thought they were doing the right thing. They thought if they took the weekend away from me, I won't get into college parties. Mm-hmm. Little did they know college parties can happen anywhere, anytime, anywhere, like whatever, you know? So that type of more restriction, even when I got the freedom that I thought I was supposed to deserve, maybe you want to be like, screw them. I'm going to take every opportunity on the days of the week that I have in college to do what I want because I don't have the weekend anymore. Mm-hmm. And it just became like this spiraling down. And
I mean, we're explaining the reasons, but something I want to also put out there is, I mean, I don't think in any way we're like complaining or like blaming our parents.
No.
It's not what we're trying to say. It's just like we've looked back on ourselves and saying this is the reason why this happened, and
they provided a life for us. You know, they came here not knowing anything. We're first generation Indians, which means our parents weren't born in America. They came from a different country. They had to learn a language.
Are we first generation Americans?
Yeah, so we had this debate earlier. We're first generation Indian Americans because first generation means you're the first generation to be born on the new land, which is America. I believe that's right.
So you're first generation.
Oh, you weren't born here?
No, I was born in India.
Oh, you were born in India.
But I mean, I came here when I was like a year old. Oh, that's right.
You were born in India.
Yeah, I came here when I was like a year old or something like that. So
So you were born in India, sent straight to America. I was born in America, sent straight to India.
Yeah. So what is that? What am I? Am I just Indian?
You're still a redneck.
Okay. I could go with that. Wait, does that mean
I would still consider you Indian American because most of your life was growing up in America.
I'm an immigrant.
You are.
Dude, I'm a fucking immigrant.
Holy shit, you're not first. What? I guess by technical definition, you're not first generation, but I would still put you in first generation because it's just a matter of like you were born as a toddler.
No, like, I'm going with the immigrant.
Okay, Mr. Black is an immigrant then.
This land was built by my people.
Please. All right, Mr. Blake.
All right.
Getting a little conceited there.
Nah, but probably I would be considered for first generation.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say out of technicality, yes, an immigrant, but I would say you're first generation. We're first generation.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, where was I going with that point?
I mean, I feel like we talked about like, you know, what happened, why we came out of college, and I guess now after college we started working.
Oh, because you put the disclaimer that we're not angry at our parents.
Oh yeah, not at all.
So that's what I meant by
and
this.
No, I don't blame them even to this day. Or
I mean, I wouldn't say blame, but I have a frustration. Whereas becoming an adult, I've been able to view my parents less as mom and dad and more as a woman and a man. And I think that makes all the difference. Someone, I think I read somewhere, or someone told me, like, that's a sign of true maturity is when you can stop viewing your parents as like these godlike people and providers and see them for the humans that they are.
Yeah.
And once I started doing that, it dawned on me that you guys grew up so strict, but you guys did a lot of the shit that I do right now.
Yeah.
So why are you being this way with me? Like, why are you not learning? Why are you not taking that into consideration and being like, you know, I can do it better? Because I'm excited to have kids now because I feel like I've had the best of both worlds and I can give them the best of the best rather than just like, here, take everything and figure it out.
I would just be terrified. My goal would be just not to fuck it up.
Well, I think that's any parent's goal.
Yeah, but
and we don't.
But you know what? I think, you know, I have a theory of why maybe our parents were like so strict or whatnot. It is because in India, if we were raised in India, they're releasing us into a society that they understand. In America, when they have their Indian culture, their traditions, but they're in a land where they're trying to figure stuff out, and they may not agree with certain things, and they're trying to like contain us and try to shape us in a certain way because they know that if we were raised in India, the culture there kind of would shape us in a predictable way.
I completely agree with you, because even when we were growing up, you know, it wasn't that they were racist. It was just more like, you know, be wary of black people, you know, or don't trust white people. It wasn't that they were necessarily racist. It's just exactly what you said. They didn't trust this society like they trusted the one back home. But to counterpoint that, it's an interesting theory, and not even a theory. I almost say it's an interesting fact because it's absolutely factual that they would trust the home society. But I've visited India as an adult going back. I've seen my second cousins. I've seen family friends. Man, these kids get released, like they get a lot of freedom to do because they're all Indians. I live in a state where it's a dry state, means you're not allowed to have alcohol as a resident. The only way you can do it is through black market. You have to hide it. You could bribe police, or if you're an immigrant, what they call a non-residential Indian NRI.
Yeah.
I can get like an alcohol license, like a gun license, and buy my own alcohol. Yada yada yada. So they've prohibited with alcohol. They think they're making the state better. No, these kids find a way at a very younger age, almost than in America, because the group that they hang out with is almost a family group, and you have a very big age difference from like 10 to almost 20. And what the 20-year-olds want to do, the 10-year-olds should not be introduced to, you know?
Yeah.
So it's almost counterintuitive. I don't think they see that part of it. They just see the good part of it. And it's almost like this blinded shade or veil that they put on, just thinking that this one way is better than the other way. That's what I get frustrated with. I don't blame them. They did the best that they could. They provided a life for me where I should have been able to succeed. Absolutely. I put a lot of it on me for whatever my failures were. But they could have done better. And as adults, I don't want them to apologize to me. I just want them to talk to me and to confront that I am human as much as they are human. And it's probably a dynamic they'll never get because I'm their child. And they say to me all the time, you will never understand until you have a child of your own.
Yeah. I've heard that line a lot.
Which is a crazy phenomenon.
And then you know what really pisses them off? When I mention, if you were to mention, like, I do because I have a dog.
Yeah. Come on, he doesn't. He doesn't really talk back to you.
Look, I have a dog, and
I've owned a dog too, and I'm a big dog person.
if you say that to someone who has a child,
yeah,
I can
but you have to take care of them like children, but they're not children.
I can make an argument, but I mean, obviously, I've never had a child, but it's just so funny to just like say that to someone,
just to piss them off. No, absolutely. So we aren't angry people. We've grown to the point where we understand how we grew up. We understand the differences and what people want us to be and what we want to be, and we've learned how to find, I would say, almost an equilibrium through all these failures and hoops that we've had to jump through. Would you say so?
Yeah, I mean, at first, like when all these failures, I was like, "Fucking why me?" And then after a while, it kind of dawned for me personally. I'm just like, these failures. When you look back, they're like, the most generic advice. Failure is a good teaching device. So, I mean, it took me a while to realize that, but I wouldn't change really anything in the past.
Well, I wouldn't say anything, but
Okay, maybe
everyone has something they would like to change. That's just my belief. But no, I agree. You can only do it once, and the ones that it was, I'm grateful for. I am.
Cool. Well, going on to I'm trying to stick to this fucking outline that I do, which I feel like is now.
And I don't have an outline in front of me, so
like,
I'm fucking it up all over.
I don't know why I spent time coming up with this outline.
And I don't know why you didn't share it with me, because I clearly have no outline in front of me.
All right. Next time I will send it to you.
Okay.
All right. But the next thing on the outline is why we want to do this podcast. I'll say why, and then you say why you think. I mean, for me, it was like I started wanting to just know a lot more. Like I wanted to learn about different topics, and I felt uncomfortable because I realized I was very ignorant in a lot of things. And the best way that I could kind of like learn them was kind of like binge on YouTube videos and then debate it with you or like talk to you about it. And then that would give me like when me and you vibed on like a topic, that's when I realized I was learning a lot. And then I think one night we were pretty
fucked up. Let's just say that.
We were pretty fucked up. And then we started just like debating, and then we recorded it, and it was like, all right, let's just fucking do this.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. And it was a pretty good recording. And those discussions, I agree with you. Like,
I do not remember that.
The night of the first recording.
No. But yeah. Do you know what's scary though?
What?
I was very eloquent in my argument.
If you listen to it, you didn't sound too slurred up or anything.
Which is not good.
That says enough about our experiences. Anyways, because I was just as bad as you, and I kind of remember a lot of it. So, anyways,
Do you agree with what the purpose is, or you have another reason why you want to do this?
No, I do agree with you because just like you said, when you brought up those topics, I had one sort of belief in it, and then you kind of said like, well, what if this, or I think this way of it. And it wasn't an anger type of thing, where people are angry about other people's opinions. It was like, why is he saying that? So I went and researched it, and I was like, dude, you just made me look and like think of it a complete different way. And it's crazy to say in such a small topic that once you change my perspective, I felt like I found a new kind of piece of me because my mind is now open to other different types of possibilities. So it was almost like cathartic. And when you came with like to me like, yo, we're having these discussions, let's just record them. Yeah, I'm like, that's fucking brilliant. Actually, why not? Like, I think
the key thing is we don't get really emotional. Like, I will literally be like, fuck you, you're wrong, but we're not.
Yeah, I mean, you will hear like anger or like argumentiveness once in a while, but it won't be the type of anger where you're like,
I'm not gonna call him today.
Yeah. Like we're still gonna put the podcast up away and be like, yo, you want to grab a drink? Like, so it's still very, very just neutral, I would say, and that was the beauty of it. It was like no matter what position we took on it or what devil's advocacy that we wanted to do, it was always gonna come back to neutral.
Yeah, and I think there's no better way to say it. Just for us, like I'm learning a lot. We record some, and I just learned a lot about that.
Absolutely,
want to keep it going.
And we're gonna so also a reason we put it as the junkies, the Betterment Junkies. We are gonna cover a wide array of topics. We going through the life we've had, we find that the word junkie gets a big negative connotation. What the reason I think we picked this name is that we want to take the definition of junkie and put like a positive spin on it. And the meaning of it, I mean, we'll have a little written thing about it on the website that we have, but just a little backtrack of it. I take it as a definition of you can be obsessive over anything. You know, it could be dance, it could be science, art, food, and unfortunately, it could be the bad things like drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
I feel like between me and you, the life experiences that we've gone through, we have had a taste of enough of these type of, let's just call them addictions. Okay. I know that's a crazy word to put, oh, he's saying addicted, yada, yada, yada. But I think a lot of people don't understand that people have addictive personalities. You want something that you like, always. So when we started figuring out what are the good addictions, what are the bad addictions, I think we found it mostly through these conversations, and we were able to open our mind, like, this is a good addiction to have, this is a bad addiction to not. Like, it's expanded me to the point where I was almost able to deal with everything that I needed to deal with, because I had this medium of saying it's okay to be a junkie of this nature. It's okay to be a junkie of this nature.
Yeah.
If that makes sense to anybody. So I think that's where we came up with the name and what we wanted to do with the name. And that means we're going to cover a wide array of topics, like a lot of different topics. Going to be like reality TV shows, space, government,
politics.
Yeah, politics, anything that happens in current events.
And I think a good way to just go from there is like, how we're going to do this is we kind of set up a format. It may change, but we're going to have two different types of episodes. One episode is going to be the Betterment topics. These we're going to hopefully release every month. These are going to be well researched.
Not hopefully. We are going to.
All right, we're going to commit to it. Once a month, we're going to release the Betterment topic episodes. TBTs, and they're going to be well researched on both our ends. They're either going to be like a debate or they're going to be just like a conversation.
On those, we're going to try to stick it to like clearly having one stance on the issue. Like, even if we don't believe in it, we're still going to try to make it so you guys get the perspective of two different stances.
Yeah, but essentially they're researched topics on both of our parts.
Very researched.
We will put in the effort to learn about it, and that's where the learning comes in. And then the other format we have are junkie shorts, which we're going to essentially, what we're going to do is just, I guess, 3 or 4 episodes per month.
Yeah, around 3 or 4, I would say.
And they're going to be minimally researched. So they're going to be...
Sometimes not at all. It could just be like we saw something, we want to talk about it, so we just...
Oh, yeah. It could even be current events or something like that.
Yeah.
Just right off the cusp. Like, we're just going to talk.
Yeah, and I think a lot of you will like the junkie shorts. We're a little bit more loose on those. But it's the TBTs...
Those are, this whole podcasting is like selfish for me. It's like, I want to learn.
Yeah.
So it's like...
So we don't even know if anyone's listening. But like I said, it's cathartic for me already because we have this set of lists and what we're going to do. I've already started thinking about, now I have to learn about this topics. And I wish I had that type of crave for knowledge when I was in school.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like we said, the way we grew up, it's just we wanted different things.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm glad I have it. And that crave for knowledge is what we're going to put out. So just like you said, this podcast is very selfish. But we would love for it to become selfless and for you guys to get involved, for other people to be interested in what we're talking about, and hopefully teach you.
Yeah. And if we do happen to have someone who is listening right now, is there a way that they could like follow us?
Nah.
Mr. White?
Nah. They just heard this one, and then we're gonna be ghosts. Black and white. No. You can. We are setting up everything up. We're doing our a launch now, and you can find us at tbjunkies.com. That is our official website, tbjunkies.com. If you even do the bettermentjunkies.com, you'll still go to tbjunkies.com. So don't worry about it.
I forgot I did that.
Yeah, nice. You did that. You did that, Mr. Black. Nice. And when you go to the website, you'll be able to see sections about us. There'll be something written, our purpose, also our episodes. Most important thing, you'll be able to find our episodes. You'll see how we split it up into TBTs, the Betterment topics, and JS, the Junkie Shorts. You can click on either one and go through those episodes. They'll be posted right there. You guys can leave comments if you're interested. It does ask you to put your name and email, but nothing will be posted. We're keeping it anonymous, so we'll keep you anonymous too. If you want to put your name, go for it. We have no problem with it. Also, we're on social media. On the website, you'll be able to find contact links, our emails, and social media links. But we are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And our names are TV Junkies, so you can add us at TV Junkies on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Cool.
And they're just starting up, so bear with me a little bit, but they will be more popping in a little bit.
Mr. White is in charge of social media. And he's fucking it up.
Shut up. It's a work in progress.
I'm in charge of tech, so you know.
Yeah, and you're not giving me the tech support I need. All right, fucking tech people.
I set up the
Say
account.
that. I had a tech job too.
I set up the account. You do the rest.
Yeah.
All right.
As we can see, we're a good dynamic, but we hope you guys were interested in a little bit about us. Through time, I think we'll start giving more information about us as well, and a little secrets about TBJ, because, you know, there's meanings to everything. I like that. I like that. There's meanings to everything, guys.
All right. Want to put it off with that?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, we are the Betterment Junkies.